It seems today that all you see is bouncing locomotives and stuff on TV. But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Lucky there's the tales of the rails. You're lucky there's a man who positively can do all the things that make us laugh and wail. It's the tales of the Northwestern Rails.
Previously, on the last episode of Coal Crisis Arc.
You'd be different.
But I just don't know what to think anymore!
A useful engine. You're helping out a lot.
Weas temblorosas. What are you all doing here? It was an average day at Vigorstown. The lone shunters, 08688 and 08689, were shunting, but they were feeling rather annoyed.
I'm fed up with the same thing every day, 08689. There are other shunters here doing other jobs, like that blue one and that green one.
Not to mention the Ironworks twins. Well, I say, we go on strike.
So we say.
So that's what they did. And now the other engines have to arrange their own trains, which caused some confusion and delay. Diddy is Diesel. Oh, hello there, Diesel. Why so glum?
It's those lone shunters. They're on strikes all because they don't have enough work. They should be grateful that they're given some work.
Oh my word, that's terrible. And it's bad enough that the steam engines can't get out because of this coal crisis. We have to get them rolling again somehow. We just need to find some coal. Somewhere. Surely there's got to be some left over.
Oh yes, we'll definitely find some coal.
The first thing Philip did was going to a source. Ah, buenos tardes, Philip. What brings you here? We don't normally fix diesels.
I just have a question related to coal. Where does coal come from and how is it formed?
A couple of good questions, my friend. Well, we do have coal mines, so I think that answers your first question. Coal comes from underground. Now, how it is formed is a rather interesting topic. Believe it or not, coal is made up of dead vegetation and plants, known as some peat. So, the peat gets buried a little, and with time, pressure, and heat, it gives off a hardened, dark look, and that's how coal is formed. Philip was impressed, and he got straight to work.
Man, this island would sure feel different without steam running on it.
Steam? You mean like the software?
The first thing Philip did was pick up a plank
Hey,
ladder.
wait a minute. Why are you taking me?
That's my friend!
He went on over to Terrence's field on Thomas's branch line, where there he picked up some grass cuttings that Terrence just plowed. Next, he went to Crosby to get George and Alfie.
Okay, I'm here. What do you want?
All right, steamroller. I want you to flatten these dead plants and turn it into coal for the steam engines.
Me? Making coal? For those cigarette heads? Ridiculous.
Hello, George. What's the matter? Oh, Nick Baldy. That four-wheel generator wants to make coal for his rail friends.
Well, you run on steam, don't you? Why not take the coal for yourself?
That's a good point. Thanks for the idea. On second thought, I'll most definitely make the coal.
Cheers, sir. Have a good one.
Next, Philip went to the outskirts of Crosby, where Alfie surprisingly dug up some coal. It did look brown, but it did have the same texture. Meanwhile, some of the steam engines were starting to get cabin fever.
I hear Diesel's boasting that he'll run the railway, but all I see running is his mouth.
Delighted, Philip presented his gift for the steam engines.
My friends, I got you a miracle!
It's all brown. Like dirt.
Well, maybe it's that E. coli I've heard about.
Are you sure that coal is all right for us to burn?
Well, my wheels and axles are stiff enough.
So that's what they did. They took the brown coal, fired it up in their fireboxes, and when you know it, the steam engines started to do their usual work. But a bit shortly afterward, they started to feel a bit lightheaded and barely producing enough steam. Turns out this brown coal was lignite coal, with a very low energy content that barely produces heat energy. Meanwhile, Diesel had other plans to find coal. Well, I shouldn't really say finding coal. He was gonna make coal. He picked up a tar tanker and a plank wagon to pick up some small rocks at the Farquhar quarry. Next, he arrived at Crosby and have his driver paint the rocks with tar to make it look like coal and leave them by the coal hopper.
Tar-coated rocks. Rather genius since tar is flammable.
It's kind of like art class all over again, only a little messy. Just then, Diesel saw Thomas passing by in a rather poor state. Eventually, Thomas gave up. He could barely have the strength to pull the local train anymore. I think we should help him, Diesel.
Why bother? He seems to be doing fine.
Diesel, passengers are urgent. I insist.
Fine.
So, Diesel complied and started to pull Thomas to Vickerstown.
Wow. What kind of coal are you burning?
But the driver forgot to turn off the faucet under the tar tanker. Back at Titmutt's sheds, the rest of the steam team were starting to get concerned.
I'm really starting to worry about Thomas, Percy, and James. As am I, Nia. I hope they don't get into trouble with Sir Topham Hatt.
Come on, Rebecca. We got to find them before there's any more issues.
So with the leftover coal in their tenders, the two big engines left the sheds and searched for their friends. They first found Percy, who had just arrived at Knapford Stations and can go no further thanks to the lignite coal he was burning.
It's on! It's on my...
Percy! Where's Thomas?
Under all that muttering Percy babbled, Rebecca could only make out the words vicar and local.
Local? Vicar? Of course! Thomas is taking the local train to Vickerstown.
That's along the main line. I'm going after him to see where he's ended up. You take Percy to the steamworks.
Rebecca! Hi! what you get for hits. I wanna kiss him.
Emily puffed along the main line.
Surely he couldn't have gone too far up.
Just then, along the outskirts of Crosby, she swerved into a siding and bumped into a couple of rolling stock. She was dazed and surprised.
What's this tar tanker and wagon of rocks doing here?
She looked over at the tar-covered rocks, and it all made sense to her.
Looks like someone's making fake coal. I had to inform the others. Huh?
She tried to move, but she couldn't. The tar that leaked out of the tankers gripped her front wheels like flypaper.
Ugh! Nasty! Now I know how Jane's felt. Ugh!
Back on the line, Sandy was doing her usual track inspection when she saw Emily struggle.
Emily? Is that you?
Sandy! Fetch help!
Okay, I will. Just don't move.
It was that moment when Sir Topham Hatt received a phone call.
Engine stranded on the main line, you say? Well then, I believe I got a good selection of diesels to sort that out. Alright, you lads. You want other activities? You got other activities.
Now you're talking.
The two lone shunters ended their strike and got to work saving the stranded steam engines. Harold even flew up ahead and was on the lookout for any strays. The Diesels were glad that they had another job to do other than shunting. I'm so drunk I could barely sing. Boy, helps me get through another day. Emily was the latest engine to be saved.
Thanks, Rocky. Yuck. That felt like glue.
We better escort you to the steamworks to get yourself cleaned up.
So, Emily said that Diesel has been making fake coal? Well, I would say this is clever. But then again, if this were to happen, cleaning out the fireboxes would be highly difficult.
So, wait, was Diesel trying to burn the engines inside out? Sandy saved you from a falling bridge and this is what you do?
Oh.
What do you mean,
Diesel stammered and explained that Philip also was responsible for making the steam engines go out with the lignite coal. Well, if that's the case, I'll find that little box cab, and me and your controller will have a little talk later. And after their talk, Philip found George.
Clearly nothing's changed.
You could call it off now. I misunderstood the time and pressure part. Turns out the peat has to be buried deep underground, and it takes millions of years of it to turn into coal.
What? You mean to tell me I was finding those dead plants for nothing? Utter rubbish.
Dash, I want you to know very well that you are a useful engine. You're helping out a lot with the workloads while the steam engines running on coal is out of commission. Eventually, one by one, more steam engines were getting dragged into the steamworks. Huellas temblorosas! What are you all doing here? At Wellsworth Sheds, Philip talked about the day's events to Edward.
Well, that sounds like an eventful day.
It was. I'm really sorry for causing all this mayhem. I just wanted to help. But what do you do when you want to do something, but there's nothing you can do?
You do what you can.
Okay. Thank you, Edward.
And with that, the day is over, and everyone went to sleep. How about no?